Welcome back to Out of the Box, Lloyd.
Dane?
All right, UFOs. Now
Yeah.
you were telling me a while back, and I said you've got to share this with folks.
Okay.
Now your grandmother's serious,
My grandmother was
and
serious.
she was no loony tuck
No
either.
lunatic.
Was she?
No, she wasn't.
And this was kind of common knowledge of her
Community.
people in that
In
that
Brooksville,
time.
Florida. Yeah.
Tell people from the beginning what happened and what she told you. And
Okay. All of my life, would go to my grandmother's during the summertime, and she would take me to a little place called Pine Island, and I would go, which is on the ocean, the Gulf out here, and we'd go swimming. And on the way by there, we would pass this area, and there was these two circles, probably 100 foot in diameter.
Yeah.
Perfectly, completely round circles. And I'd ride by those things all the time, and I'd seen them. And one day I asked my grandmother, I said, "Grandma, what are those two round circles out there?" I said, "They no grass ever grows there. We've been riding by here every year." And she said, related this story to me, and she said that back in the 50s, that there were two crafts that actually landed there. And
now, did she use the word crafts or?
Yes, she used the word crafts.
Okay.
They landed there, and she said that some of her kinfolks was working with the sheriff's department at the time.
Right.
And the sheriff of Hernando County in that time chased a silvered colored creature. They called it in those days like a silverfish.
Was
is
it
what
like
they called it.
grayer maybe or something?
It was a silver shiny,
Silver, okay.
silver shiny. And they chased this thing all the way through the Weeki Wachee
That was
forest.
a silverfish colored type.
Silverfish colored. In
Yeah.
other words, it shined, it glowed.
Now people are going, woo, but
They
this
can
is
go
what she
woo
told
all
you.
their way. This is what my grandmother told me
Yeah,
when we
right.
were growing up. And regardless of the truth of the story or not, all right, that she told me.
one.
And from this day, nothing has grew there. From the age of 5 to the age of 15, nothing has grown on that plot of land.
So when you say they chased this thing, did you remember to elaborate what it may look like other than the
Other
color?
than it looked like a silverfish is what she said. And they chased this thing with the hound dogs and chased it through the Weeki Wachee National Forest for 2 weeks. They chased this thing. And they never did catch whatever
What
it was.
did they do with the craft that was there?
Huh?
What happened to the craft? I mean, did the government come in and?
She never elaborated on that, Brother Dane.
Okay, I know that I've always had an interest in this, and and when you do a serious study of UFOs, when you do really get into the serious study of it, you'll find that you got some extremes on both ends. You got one that says no way, never could be.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not, and they could, an UFO could come out and vaporize their nose with a laser beam. They still deny it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got some on the other extreme that everything's a UFO.
Yeah, everything,
they got their
man.
own agendas or kooks or.
Bottle cap pop off.
But
that's
then
a
you
UFO.
got this, it's like the old saying goes: when you get a lot of information somewhere, that information's the truth. But then you got this area where you begin to wonder. Wait a minute now, this really needs to be taken a serious look at.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing Lloyd when the Roswell crash in 1947 when they claimed it was a weather balloon after it already made the paper and everything. And
Right.
Anybody can do research on this and see it, but they actually, with today's technology, able to blow up pictures and digitalize it, and make it clear. The man was holding a piece of paper. I believe it was the colonel or one individual was next to the wreckage, and in the piece of paper he was holding, it was orders from on high, as far as the government, about a disc and to get it under secrecy and get it going. You could see little excerpts in that picture, and back then they couldn't think ahead, about someone in the future taking that and working on that
Analyzing it.
photograph and be able to see what's on that paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's things that we need to think about, wonder about. Now, in Drake's equation, and this I'm not going to go into detail. This is Drake is a cosmologist or not a hairdresser, but a astronomy, and he gives basically an equation, and he comes to.
Dane, can I say something?
Yeah.
Here? For the behalf of our listeners, we're talking astronomy and not astrology.
That's right. I'm glad you pointed out. Astrology is Scorpio and Virgo and how the stars manipulate your life, you know, but we're talking about
Astronomy.
and we do not believe in astrology.
No,
we don't
neither one
accept
of us.
it. We don't believe it. But astronomy is the study of the universe.
Study of what the physical universe.
And it's planetary astronomy. Then you have
Cosmology.
Then you have cosmology. Then you have those that study biology, what life could be like on other worlds and things. But Drake gives an equation, and he figures out the size of our galaxy, then factors in how many planets each galaxy has, and then he factors out what slim margin could support life. Then then he goes down to figure out what small fraction that could develop intelligent life. And when we say develop, we're not pushing evolution. Don't get us wrong, folks. And then we're just quoting this figure. And then
let's say this: what could support?
Right.
Could support intelligent life.
Right.
It has to be a livable condition, a livable environment.
And then willing and have the technology to communicate with us and just in a given moment during our lifetime, and he comes out with it's an astronomical figure. It's amazing. I mean,
What's the number?
Well,
that he comes up with. Do you have it there?
He said that an expected lifetime of such a civilization, any given time, we could communicate or hit a communication with. It's that high. At any given time, he says we could come across a communication like radio or a communication, and I don't want to bore people with this, but what I'm saying is that now, you know, some people say, well, what about carbon-based life? You know, well, we're carbon-based, but silicone, they say, can't do it because it only can holds a minor amount of those functions that we call that is necessary for life. But who knows? It doesn't have to be carbon-based.
That's right.
You know, but
there are creatures right here on Earth, Dane, in the bottom of the ocean, that live on the hydrochloric acids and stuff.
Right, coming out of the vents in the bottom of the ocean.
Vents.
Right.
Totally different type of structure of life than what we see on the surface, on the planetary surface.
Right, right, and strange things, you know. And I think we're going yet to discover. I don't think we have even a clue of all the kind of different lives at the bottom of the ocean. We have no idea, but there's things we don't even know exist. And so we're going to continue talking about this. And
there are such things as SUOs, submergible unidentified flying objects.
Now you're confusing me. No, I'm kidding. No, you're right. Yes, you're right. I have read about that. Not saying that they're true, but I have read accounts about that. Well, we'll be back in a moment with the remainder of this program, and we're going to be doing the second part on this.
That's right.
We're going to be talking about in the second part about pictures done 2,000 years ago that show things that's kind of that we can identify that looks like today.
It goes along with what the Bible said, nothing new under the sun.
Okay. We'll be back in a moment with Out of the Box with Dennis and my guest, Lloyd Markham.